Like this when lounging. Okay, what's up, y'all? I'm Cam.
I'm Jennifer.
I'm Kalila, her daughter.
Okay.
Her daughter.
Okay. Anyway, okay. Leave the room or put your headphones on. Okay.
Put my headphones on.
All right. It's a grown folks conversation. Okay. So we was just sitting here talking, and we was like, let's do a video and go ahead and talk about this and put this out there. And I wanted to talk about when people move from relationship to relationship. That was me for a while. All of my boyfriends were like back to back to back. And we were just sitting up here talking, and some of my girlfriends, including you wanted to know why I was what? What was it you asked me?
I just wanted to know more so like why you seem to be as independent as you are, and a lot of people I think have a counterfeit idea of what it is to be independent. Yeah, it's nice if you have your own things, but a lot of women, you know, might have those material things that might be stable financially, but spiritually, you know, they not made, you know, whole. They not a whole woman. They still going from relationship to relationship, you know, going from man to man, and they not even sure why they going on that same cycle. And I was just wondering, even for myself, like, why is it that it seems like you don't have to even talk to a man? It's like you good without being in a relationship, and you don't even get some dudes time of day that's, you know, husband material to most women. And I was just wondering, where do you get your strength from? And then when you were telling me what God told you through this revelation of how, you know, you have to be made whole first before you can even get with anybody. If you're not made whole, then that person that you seeking after is going to complete you where the void is and the empty space is, and they going to create in you what you supposed to be, you know, and make you be this person they want you to be. And you'll forever, you know, be tied down to this person not fully being who you are to your fullest potential, because they the ones feeling you and you not already full.
That makes sense. And just, you know, to go even further into the conversation, a lot of women, especially women that have been hurt, you get to a point where, like, you feel the need to be in a relationship. I mean, you can have your girlfriends and y'all get together and talk and go to the movies and go out to eat together, but it's like something just come over you and you just got to have a man. It don't even have to be on the level of getting married. You just got to have a man. I need a man's attention. I need a man's touch. I need a man to keep me company. And so you end up in this vicious cycle of never having a chance to be completely independent on your own with God, to learn yourself, figure out who you are, and make yourself whole. And I couldn't explain this until today. People ask me, you know, Cam, I don't see how you do it. You know, and I was like, well, I'm not superhuman. You know what I'm saying? And I never could explain it to them. That's all I could say is I ain't superhuman. I'm not superwoman. And tonight, that's when it hit me. I was like, you got to be whole before you go into a relationship, because whatever part of you that you haven't learned about yourself, whatever part of you that you're not confident about, then that part of you is empty, and that's going to be a void. And I mean, it's just like if you take two glasses and you put them on top of each other, just even a time capsule. When you turn that time capsule upside down, whatever empty space is in the bottom time capsule, the top time capsule is going to fill. But if the bottom part of the time capsule is already filled, then the top portion of the time capsule cannot consume the bottom portion of the time capsule. And that's the illustration of what I was saying, and it goes deeper into not being unequally yoked. Because whatever part of you, what's going to happen, and it's human nature. It ain't got nothing to do with he just evil or she evil or you a bad person. It's human nature to do that. And so what's going to happen, I'm going to try to make this man be what I want him to be, because I see and recognize that he's not complete in himself.
Yeah, two incomplete people together is
exactly got an incomplete person.
Yeah, you always have disaster when that happens, because you see a lot of men out there, you know, they have their pride, so they're not going to admit to you, okay, I'm incomplete. They're not going to tell you that. Most women, you know, you expect to be that. You know, so when you have a man that's not, you know, really complete, he not telling you, okay, I got this space in me. I don't really fully know myself. And then you got this woman, naturally, the man who's dominant, trying to take control. He's already trying to enforce in you what he feel like you should be. So at the same time, you saying, okay, well, you're not complete either, and you trying to get him to, you know, be this person. So y'all clash, y'all start arguing, you go back and forth, you can't see eye to eye. And I mean, a lot of people, you know, don't know that's why, because I mean, you not complete in who you supposed to be. You haven't found yourself. You still got issues that you ain't dealt with. You just put under the rug. And you know, a lot of times when you also living double lifestyles and you trying to maintain two different things, you know, you trying to be with all these other different women, then you find this one that you might like and you want to kind of keep her on the shelf, but you still don't want to let go of the other. I mean, that causes this too, and that forever keeps you in this same cycle and tied down in the bondage of you never fully becoming whole. And a lot of men that's got the little boy syndrome that still, you know, little boys trapped in a grown man body, that's because they ain't gotten to that point yet, you know? And I feel like we should have more of an open forum where we talk about these things. So that we can help each other.
We do. And we're going to continue to do these videos and talk about these things and keep video blogging and having these forums, because it needs to be done. And I just felt it on my heart, and I felt compelled. I was like, I need to go ahead and, you know, get with her and let's do this, to talk about this. We've been in demand for doing these. I'm sorry it took us so long. We've been going through our own things ourselves. But one of the big things I wanted to say was as far as finding who you are is concerned, if you have not found yourself, you don't know your strengths and your weaknesses. If you still have low self-esteem in certain areas and certain vices, what happens, for some odd reason, people think that marriage is going to complete you, and it's not. Some people think that even having a child is going to complete you, and it's not. So you're on this forever journey, constantly going around this mountain, just like the Israelites when they left Egypt, trying to find something. The promised land was already there. It was already there. It wasn't vacant, but it was already there. God was going to remove the people. But they kept going around the mountain because they kept repeating the same mistakes. And that's the problem. And that's why you need time for yourself to learn yourself, to heal, to know you. Because how am I going to be in a relationship with you when you don't know who you are? That means that I don't even know who he is, because he doesn't know who he is. So it's like you married to a complete stranger, because they don't know who they are. So that's why people be like, he wasn't the man I thought he was. After we got married, everything changed. No, things did not change. That's not what happened. It wasn't a change. He was always like that. But because he had not found himself and didn't know who he was, you were in love with a fictitious man that didn't even exist. So when he finally finds out who he is in the course of the marriage, then that's when you find out you don't even like the person who he really is.
Exactly.
So you married to a person that you don't even like. And a lot of people talk about that, and I'm just like, the jack came out the box. So that's why when I meet guys, and if you somebody a potential person I would want to be with, I'm going to do something, and I know y'all may call this messy, but I'm definitely going to push you and push those buttons, because I want to see Jack. I don't want to see the box. I don't want to see the box. The box will be dressed up real nice. I want to meet Jack. And Jack needs to come out the box. So I'm going to push your buttons until Jack come out the box. And then that's when I know whether or not we can go forward in this and even build a relationship. So, I mean, and just like you were saying that you was going through this constant cycle, but you really didn't know that's what it was.
Yeah, you also need to kind of break down, too, for the people. Let them know what the difference is between trying to push that person button to get, you know, what's inside that they holding on to that they don't want you to see because they're wearing a mask, because they're trying to impress you. What the difference between that is and playing mind games with somebody, you know, because a lot of people look at that and be like, oh, well, you know, I do that, you know, and make excuses for
Right.
it when really you doing something completely different. You trying to run game on somebody.
Exactly.
She not saying like I'm trying to run game on you, I'm trying to play with your emotions and your heart. I'm trying to see, okay, what's gonna happen when he gets mad at me? How is he gonna treat me? Because when you can tell a lot about a person. You know, we know this anytime trouble comes, it tests the waters and you find out, how strong a person really is.
Right.
So just like if you make somebody mad, you gonna see whether or not they gonna mistreat you, how bad they gonna treat you, or
you know what? That makes so much sense, and I just heard something when you said that. Picture a person that has their whole life, they knew they wanted to be, let's just say a police officer. They finally become a police officer. And something happens, they have an incident, and now they have amnesia. They're in a coma, 10 years they're in a coma. They wake up from the coma, they have no previous memory. And someone comes and tells this person, oh, you want to know what you were doing and what were you before you went into this coma? And that person tells them, I think, because he's not sure, he's been in a coma, and he tells them, well, I think I was a firefighter. You know what would happen if he went to an actual station and operated as a firefighter? It's going to be a disaster, because he hasn't been trained to be a firefighter. He was a police officer. So that's how you have relationship disasters. You go into the relationship and you're operating as something that you ain't even been trained to do. How can you be in a relationship and you hadn't even been trained to do it? And it's just like having amnesia. That's the same difference as not knowing who you are. And that's how you get a disaster. Just like me taking my daughter and sending my daughter out to drive somebody somewhere. She has not been trained to do that. And so when you don't know who you are and your capabilities, then that's going to equal a relationship disaster out the gate, out top. That's going to be a disaster. And a lot of people that, that I have given this advice to and told these things to, they had the same thing that they had to say. My husband is not who I thought he was. I hear it all the time. I even hear men say the same thing about their wives. And that's why the main thing I want to tell you, make sure you whole by yourself. I had to become whole by myself. I don't need a man to do anything for me, because I've learned myself. I know my weaknesses and my strengths, my likes and my dislikes. And another thing I'm going to tell you, you have to learn, women, and for the men that are looking for somebody that they can spend the rest of their life with, you yourself have to learn how to discern, because you can't put all the blame on the person that was faking, flogging, and acting like something that he wasn't. You yourself have to learn how to discern. Pay attention to the red flags. Stop ignoring the red flags, because it's like you see the red flags, you act like you don't see the red flags, and then next thing you know, you throwing up a white flag saying, I done gave up. I give up. So if you pay attention to the red flags, the relationship will not end and you throwing up a white flag. That make sense?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, because a lot of times as women, since, men are visual creatures, but, we are so intuitive in our minds and we're so creative, and a lot of times we can imagine this fantasy. We had this fantasy sometimes we'll be in this whole nother world when it comes to a man, because we know what we want and everything. And a lot of times before you even find yourself, you can know what you want, but since you don't know everything about you, you don't know what's going to be compatible to you, because you don't want to create a man and then have him be the same as you when you don't even fully know yourself. The man's supposed to compliment you anyway, but we'll look through rose-colored glasses sometimes, and it's not always all on the man. I mean, you got to take responsibility too, because if you looking at this man and you thinking he's something, and you so focused on this one little thing, and it can be so good in your eyes, and you overlook all the other stuff, like she said, like the red flags. You look all over all the bad stuff. You won't even pay attention to the fact that, okay, I'm so focused on thinking he's this one. Really, everything around me is telling me he's not. He's the opposite of what I'm trying to create him to be.
And so so basically what you end up doing is you create this fantasy relationship. and you end up being in a fantasy relationship instead of a reality relationship.
And then by the time, you know, it's not just by the time it's not just red flags anymore, you know, it becomes a whole big problem. And you just like, where did this come from?
Yep. And I'm getting ready to end this, but one last thing for women that are in abusive relationships or have been, a lot of times, a lot of those women beat themselves up about it. But you shouldn't. You just fell victim to nature versus nurture, basically. How you grew up and what you were conditioned to. And most of those women were not whole when they got with that man. So that's what made them more vulnerable to this man abusing them, because they didn't know who they are. They were not whole. They did not know your worth. And I don't even have to bring God into this. For those of you that's kind of between that when it comes to God, or even for those of you that are atheists, I don't even have to bring God in this. I can just come to you on a straight level of life experiences without bringing Him into it and what the Word says. That's a whole nother subject. And that can take you deeper into this. If you would like to hear that, we could do one, and it can be biblically based. But the main thing that I want to say to those women, it may not be physical abuse, but even verbal abuse, which is just as bad, you know, because words really do hurt. And we have this thing, sticks and stones break my bones, but words that never hurt. We used to say that when we were little, but that's not true. Words really do hurt. And a lot of words, men, be careful what you say to women. If you know that we are more emotional than you are, then you are more accountable to be more careful with what you say to women, if you know that. And don't say something to a woman that you're going to regret later. So what happens is these women have been constantly degraded. They've been constantly put down to the point where they don't even have any self-esteem anymore. So that's why women do not leave these men, because these men have completed them. They're complete. They feel like if I leave him, that makes me incomplete. Not realizing that they're still incomplete, because the part of them that has been created was created by someone else. So they still don't even know who they are. That's why women have a hard time leaving. So for any of you that may be in that situation, leave. Leave. Because you will never be complete when you let somebody else define who you are. And in order for you to break that cycle, you're going to have to figure out who you are and be made whole. And like I said, we didn't bring God into it. We'll do that next time. But for right now, we just want to go ahead and address this and put it out there. And for you all that are going through heartbreak or maybe been heartbroken, just remember, I've been there and done that. And when it's happening, you think that you will never get over it. It feels like the whole world has just came to an end. And I mean, I had nights where I cried. I cried night after night after night. And I never thought I would get over him. And now, I barely even remember his name. I don't even remember his birthday or nothing. But this same person, I shedded all these tears over. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. I'm speaking to the ladies and I'm speaking to the men. If somebody are not treating you the way you know that you should be treated, deuces. Don't hang around, because it ain't going to work out. It's just going to be a disaster. Because two empty people makes two empty people. You can't take empty and get whole. Alright, so this is what it is. I'm Kham.
This is Jennifer.
And we'll be back.
And this is Khalilah.
Till next time.
Go ahead, Khalilah. You go finish jumping up like you would go stop it.